In this section, I'm going to do an overview of the Big Six facilitated activities. Each of the PowerPoints are scripted with notes to give you the content you need to deliver them. So if you go to the bottom of the PowerPoint, you can raise it up and see the notes section, and that gives you all the information you'll need to present the content of it. But what I want to go over is the structure of the modules so that you'll be able to utilize the different pieces and fill in information needed for the modules. The first thing you'll need to fill in is your campus name in the bottom of each title slide for the module. So it's simple, but you want to be sure and fill that information in. In different modules, there'll be slides with red typing in them. That red typing is an indicator to you as a new teacher expert that there is something campus specific that needs to go in that. It may be data, it may be different examples from your campus. So please, even though this sounds self-explanatory, don't present these slides with this red typing in there with descriptors of what goes in there. I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen some stuff. So just know that. This means you need to fill something in. This particular one is from the reinforcement facilitated activity. And so in this one, I believe it's just different examples of reinforcement systems on your campus. That would be one thing you might fill in. I know in the expectations module, you would put in examples of your campus matrix. So we didn't want to put those in for you because it varies as to what's campus specific there. And I believe some of them may have some data and information in there. So you want to go through and fill these in before you facilitate this activity. The next part I want to point out is key points. So each facilitated activities will have a key point slide. The key points is basically saying we may cover a lot of information in this particular facilitated activity, but when you leave, this is what I want you to leave with. So in reinforcement, like the goal of reinforcement is to get positive behaviors to increase and continue, and reinforcement occurs after the expected behavior has occurred, not before. So if you get anything from this facilitated activity on reinforcement, leave with these two things. Okay, so each section has something like this, so that that at the end you can make sure you review this and that's what the teachers will leave with. There's also the look fors. So in this one for reinforcement, we look at the PBIS in the classroom implementation standards. These are found on our website, and there is the link below for the teachers when we're doing this session. But this is the look fors in their classrooms. If I'm a new teacher and I'm like, you're telling me all this content, but what do I do in my classroom? What am if I want to reflect on my learning and reflect on my teaching, how do I see that in my classroom? So if I can look at this and say, I need to have body language that conveys enthusiasm, I need to have lots of praise statements in my classroom, and I need to have a reinforcement system. So I can go back to my classroom and I can do that. And so that way they have something they know that they can look for to identify that they're doing the work they're supposed to be doing with that particular content area. The last thing is the more information page. This is in each section. It has a link to our website, and our website has a ton of content in it for teachers to look at. They can go through each of the PBIS in the classroom module information pages, gives them lots of tools and resources, but it also has this facilitate activity PowerPoint in there. So that way they can go and review this again themselves if they need to go back and review the information. At the end of each of the facilitated activities, there is a slide that looks like this. The chalkboard slide is what I call it. This is a slide for the new teacher expert and the teams who will be presenting the information. So this is for you. So I would take this slide out or just stop before this slide or whatever when I'm presenting it. But this is for you to know what is it in this particular content I need to be doing. So on this one, be sure you model reinforcement during the presentation because this is the reinforcement slide. Or reinforcement facilitate activity. So then determine how your teachers will conduct reinforcement activities. So will they have an individual classroom reinforcement system? Will it be by grade level, content? What is that going to look like? And then communicate with administration about the completion and implementation of the reinforcement system. So you want to make sure, like as you're doing this, that the reinforcement systems and tools that administration is aware and understands what it is that they are doing in that classroom, because they may come in and observe and see something and they're like, what is that? I've never seen that before. So making sure that they know what that looks like. Okay, so I wanted to give one more example using the correction facilitate activity. So again, you want to just fill in your campus on the front slide. Then we want to look at the key points, making sure that we cover this content, that teachers walk away with this information. This is the information we want to be sure, if we cover anything, that they leave with this information from the key points. Then we want to look at the look for's page. We want to see that, as a teacher, when they leave, they can go back, reflect on their learning, and this is what they could see themselves doing in their classroom, what the things that, are applicable to them from the implementation standards. And of course, we want to share with them our more information page. So in correction, the key points for new teacher experts and teams, it's your chalkboard slide again. We want to have teachers complete the classroom discipline process map for their classroom. And as staff are working through scenarios, be sure to identify strategies that align with the best practices identified in the corrective strategies handout. So in this particular session, for instance, there's a handout on corrective strategies, and y'all may be having some discussion, but you don't want teachers coming up with ideas that are not things that align with that, because we want to use strategies that are research based, and that those are the kind of things we're doing in our classroom. We don't want to just have off the wall corrective strategies going through there, so be sure that they align with some of those corrective strategies. I hope this overview of the Big Six facilitate activities has kind of given you some guidance and direction in adjusting and creating these facilitated activities for your campus. Remember, they are scripted and there is some work to be done before you present them, so be sure and go over them before the day you're going to present them and have that information ready. As always, if you have questions or concerns, you can contact your area PBIS specialist.